Art Talks are delighted to welcome you all after a wonderful summer, we hope. And we are starting our Art Talk series with Edward Gallagher from Galloire Gallery in Dubai and the inspiring artist Paco Pomet from Granada. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Hello, Carolina.
Hello.
I'm fine, Carolina. Nice to see you.
Wonderful, wonderful to see you. And in both, Edward is in Dubai in his wonderful gallery, so that you will guide us very soon through the current exhibition Signal. And Paco is in his atelier in Spain. So, Edward, I would like to start with you. And again, I will ask everybody please to mute while I am. So, Edward, would you like to tell us a bit why you are in Dubai, first of all? Why did you create your wonderful Galloire gallery in Dubai, and a bit the vision and mission?
Of course, with pleasure. Hello, everybody, and very nice to meet you and connect online. We've been going about 2 years, and the reason for being in Dubai is that we very much see that as a location, as a place where art is growing and growing rapidly. It has a bright future. Its foundation is built on Middle Eastern artists exhibiting here, but around 2 years ago, obviously Art Dubai is getting more popular, and we decided to set up and try and bring global stars to exhibit here, often for the first time. There's a sort of smattering of international artists amongst some galleries, but really the predominant drive is to sort of make Dubai a destination, make the UAE a destination, and try and cultivate the kind of growth that you've seen somewhere like Seoul, which has exploded on the art scene and really, really started to grow and expand. And you've already seen, since we opened, Gallery Continua, Periton, and others starting to put small footholds here. So Periton opened in September, and Continua have a small outpost here now. And so I think there's this sort of swell of bringing global art to the UAE and to Dubai. And we're very much part of the beginning of that trend and that drive. In terms of artists, we're extremely fortunate. I come at this as a collector by background and a businessman, as opposed to a sort of gallerist per se. And really, how do we choose our artists? I get to pick people I love and admire. So I'm very fortunate in that, we get to connect with artists who maybe they're signed in Spain, in London, in America. They couldn't work with us there, but because it's relatively new bringing these global stars here, then we're able to work with some of the world's greatest artists, including Paco, who we're excited to get to talk to and share some of his works today.
Fantastic, fantastic. And actually, Edward, we met through another wonderful artist, and through her, I met you, and then we met in Art Basel, which it makes it even more beautiful when we finally meet somewhere in the art world.
Absolutely.
So, and then we decided to start our Art Talk series in collaboration with a Small World today with you. And the wonderful and inspiring Paco that will show us a bit more his atelier that we can't wait to see. And Edward, for Signals, so this is something that it's a group exhibition with international artists, as you said, that you chose. Why did you choose them for this group exhibition, first of all?
So at the moment, rather than having a permanent fixed roster of artists, we're developing relationships with artists as we go. We take a curatorial theme, and then we seek out artists to work, whoever touches on that or explores that, and then we build the shows from there. So Signals is really about the idea that we live in this mass media culture, and we have done since the 60s, It's designed to be cross-generational. So we've got artists from the silent generation, then Generation X, Generation Y, spread across this experience of this mass media culture, which moved from Americanization of global culture in the 60s through to technology permeating and penetrating every aspect of life, and then into this whirlwind of the digital life we live now, of social media, of internet, of streaming, of all of those channels. So yeah, it's each artist, as you can probably see if I give you a quick whiz round, has responded in a different way, but all of them are people who consider and are considering this idea of the mass media culture in which we live and the programming. And when it refers to signals, we're thinking about, you know, by the time you reach adulthood, are we so conditioned that our synaptic responses, the signals that go on in our brain, are so conditioned that can we even be ourselves? Can we be our own individual? Are we so restricted by this conditioning that it's very hard to be independent and individual after years of this mass media culture?
Yes, yes. And I think it's, first of all, how many artists did you choose, Edward?
So in this case, the group show has 5 artists, ranging from British artists like Derek Bosher, obviously an icon from British pop art, coming up after graduating with David Hockney and others from the Royal Academy of Art, becoming this sort of pop icon artist in the 60s, through to Spanish artists, Paco, German, Sebastian Mas, and a couple of American artists, including deconstructed pop artist Matt Gondek, who sort of punkish rebellion style tears apart and blows up these carefully crafted images that Disney and Warner Brothers serve us up. And the LA artist JPW3, John Patrick Walsh III, who's probably a bit more positive about this whole world of speed and connectivity in his 3 pieces in the show.
Wonderful. And they're all here, or they're all in Dubai, where as I said, Paco is with us tonight, so we are going to talk to him very soon. But all the other artists were present at the beginning of the exhibition.
Yeah, so we don't, for a group show, we don't tend to bring, you know, more than one artist through the whole show. So we're not flying everybody in every time from LA and all of these other locations. Even Bosha now lives in LA, so it'll be a long trip for everybody. But through the show now, summer's over and everybody's back, because just like Europe, everyone leaves Dubai in the summer and goes to cooler climes. And so yeah, now everyone's back. We'll be doing more activation with artists, both on the ground and remotely, such as these great technology-driven opportunities.
Wonderful, Edward. And would it be possible to give us a little tour?
With great pleasure, of course. So yeah, we've been in the space now for, this is our 4th exhibition in this, our permanent home and brand new space. You can see here another lovely work from Paco, and I shall return to that shortly. But as we come through, we have Juliet, Romeo, and the Nurse from Sebastian Mas. Works from Derek Bosher, his kind of iconic talking heads motif and butterfly you see there. And then as we kind of come through, we have this very nice 8-meter tall space that we use for normally much more significant scale works and installations, but something exciting coming in January that'll use that full height. And then of course, back up we go to Paco's work at the end here. And we have 3 super pieces from him, which I shall let you you chat to him about.
Yes, yes. In fact, I would love to ask Paco. First of all, welcome, Paco. It's always beautiful to to meet the combination of the galleries, the artists, and the audience, which the Art Talks. We are here to listen to all your process and all your fascinating, let's say, philosophy of life, which through your paintings we can see little glimpses. But I would love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you for your introduction, and thank you, Edward, for your nice words about my work. I mean, sometimes it's not easy to talk about painting because my natural way of working, my natural way of communicating is through painting. So many times, many people ask me to interpret, or maybe to make some statements, or try to guide them through the paintings for them to get more into the meaning. But I'm always trying not to make a closed statement, so a closed statement in a way that a painting has many paths to follow. So I like to present some propositions to the viewer, some starting points, and then the viewer must walk around inside the painting and try to do their own adventure, looking through the painting and searching for the meaning of it. But I will be later. I will be delighted and to answer any questions you want. I can talk to you about generally speaking about my working. But if you want to know anything about a special painting or one of the paintings that are there in the gallery, or maybe here in the studio, I don't have much paintings now because this is a new studio. I have just moved from another one. This is a studio that is included in a house. We made a house with a studio, so it's very clean. It's too clean to be a studio.
It's very clean. So yes, I can see that.
It's
Perfection.
So I think 4 or 5 paintings that I can show you today, but I will be delighted maybe to make you a little tour of what.
Thank you, Paco. First of all, I would like to ask, how did you meet with Edward? How did you start this inspiring journey with Edward?
He contacted me around a year ago, and we've been talking about the possibilities of work. And at the beginning, he was looking for 2 or 3 works, and I was really, let's say, occupied and really busy. But I managed to take the time to send him a few pieces, and it took more time for the third one, which is a bigger one. But I effort to finish one. And I was really excited to participate in this show because of the artists that he gathered, and the enthusiasm that he showed me about my work. And there was from the beginning a really nice atmosphere. 2 of us talking about art and his likes and the way he sees contemporary art is something that it made me really look forward to working with him.
Well, I would like to paraphrase a couple of sentences that that I was reading about you. The act of looking causes an excited perplexity in me. I can't get used to anything that I see, and so nothing bores me, and nothing entirely convinces me. I love it. It's a way that that translated in painting, it's even more beautiful. So, for instance, Edward has on his back this painting. Could you tell us a bit more your paintings that you chose for the for signals that are behind Edward?
The theme of the exhibition was to my kind of working, my way of working, because the mass media let's say, influences are very big in my work. Sometimes painters we used to pick up, for example, your influence, and then we talk about Goya, or maybe about Velázquez, or all figures of painting. But I'm even more attracted or even more influenced by the culture that I was born with and I grew up with. For example, the comics and the TV shows like the Muppets, or let's say Asterix and Obelix, or Ibáñez. This is a Spanish comic draftsman, and also, for example, the old cinema like the Marx Brothers or Buster Keaton, or the influences are very, very big and very, very wide. And I don't like to, let's say, I don't like to distinguish between a high culture or low culture. I think culture is a really big amount of things that are well done, or they are not well done.
But Edward, could you tell us, yes, a bit this painting, which we found very, let's say, it's a playful game between history, memory, history, and reality.
Yeah, I think obviously Paco far better to speak about it than I. But from my perspective, this contrast, this jarring moment, as he sort of said, of weaving in the modern, weaving in these characters and style that surrounds us into the nostalgic vintage, just creates this high impact moment, not just the pop of color, but of course the satirical use of the character. I think this is a particularly powerful piece, and you might think that Paco painted it in response to the current situation in Ukraine and Russia, but actually he sort of painted it in the summer of 2021, which tells us this cyclical nature of the unfortunate cyclical human nature of driving to war, of these ludicrous figures, alas, always pushing these tired, worn out men to work harder, to fight battles they don't believe in. Alas, this is something that is part of our human nature and not something that, Paco's directly responding to this specific incident. Paco?
Yeah. I mean, I like the way you have described the painting, and it's true that at the beginning, when we were thinking about this painting for the show, was the war in Ukraine. It was happening, so I was kind of. We were kind of disturbed by this situation. That's why you were pointing out the fact that I painted this like 1 year ago. And it's true that the end of history it was never there, like Fukuyama tried to say. We have to deal in any moment with all the aspects of life that we have been dealing for ages. And in that sense, the art is cyclical, as Edward said, and we can expect anything at any moment. And I try to make an updating of the classical or let's say the permanent issues. Permanent issues are the ones that affect us all, and we are at their mercy. So I don't know if I'm explaining myself, because I'm switching to English for now, and normally I don't speak English every day. But I don't know if you're getting what I mean.
Yes, no, definitely, and I think Edward also made it really, I think is a beautiful thought about what we have to, that we are products of unfortunately of our society, from sometimes the iconography and the reality overlaps. But I think
yes, and in this.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
please.
sorry. And in this painting, also precisely in this painting, I was trying to convey to mix the humor with the disgrace and the grief. And it always makes a twist that can make a work of on a statement bigger or more powerful. Because normally, if we decontextualize some figures and we put them in the place they shouldn't be, in this painting, or maybe the one with the bird, which is very old, later, things can get, I mean, the sensations or the messages can get a little bit more, more radical.
Yes, yes.
And even though we are human, the irony of the figure of being a superior in all the senses, using these mass media, switching languages, I think is something that attracts me a lot, and I think it can work.
And I would say that, interestingly, out of the entire show, this is the one painting people have spent most time stood in front of, just thinking, contemplating. I don't know what it is they're thinking, but these people, are really pausing and taking it in and allowing all of these different thoughts to sort of wash over them while looking at this one. So it's a real feature of the show.
But it is quite, and I also love, the dunes. Let's say this beautiful. It's a bit, the landscape could be the Middle East landscape. Yes, but this is quite even bigger than the other ones.
Yeah, this is a full big piece, and the amazing photorealism of the visual. But of course, again, for me, better to hear it from the artist. But in terms of my personal feelings about the work is, we think we know the lines should be straight, and we think we know what the rules are, but the goalposts are always moving. The lines are changing. We think we're medically advanced, but you know what? All of a sudden there's a global pandemic. We think we're too sophisticated to get ourselves into a fight in Europe, but suddenly we're seeing another country invade another so close. So this idea of we think we know what everything's set, but actually the sands are always shifting is very much the sense we get from it. But again, a lot of people come in, they've seen the work online or digitally, and then they come in and can't believe it's not a photo. That is, wow, it's a painting. They're so surprised.
It looks like a picture, from us, from here, we can, it looks like a picture, but of course it's a painting. And this is the reality again gets into a different reality. It is incredible. Paco, how long did you say, how long did you need to paint this particular one?
Oh, this is a very useful question I get. It depends. Many paintings normally they have two main parts. I mean, when I introduce a different color or an intervention in a painting, then most of the times it has to dry before I. Normally, let's say that the sand for these landscapes, it took me like 4 or 5 days to finish. And then I had to let it dry to just draw the wheel on and also the, how do you say, the where the goals are done, and the squares of where the goalkeeper goes. How do you call that?
Yeah.
I don't remember
penalty
the name.
box.
How do you call that? Sorry?
Well, it's the penalty box, the box around the goals.
Yeah, but that needed another session, a different session when it was dry. But I don't like to stay a long time with the painting because I want to focus, and stay working really hard with the painting, with really long sessions, and try to finish it, not to lose track. And for example, in the Edward showed us first with the figure, with comic figure. I mean, the comic figure had to be painted later because once the rest was dry, and also the sweat or the expression signs that had to be painted later. But let's say the black and white part, 2 or 3 days, and then the other one is a session of a morning. I'm not a painter that goes like this very slowly. No, I like to work as fast as I can when I'm concentrated. So it doesn't take that much.
Fantastic.
I mean, it takes. Sometimes the most interesting part for me is the idea. Where does it come the idea from? You have to be prepared to receive an idea, because it's something that you cannot generate by thinking a lot or by being very, very sophisticated thinking, or sometimes it comes to you and you have to grab it and then write it down or remember it. And is this in English, it's a special moment that it comes to you. So you have to be like a hunter. You have to hunt it when it's ready. And then once you have it in your head, then the execution is just you go there in front of the canvas with all your skills that you have learned for years. And then you try to convey an image for that idea, to convey, to construct an image that reflects that image or idea that I had.
It is fascinating, because it's like, when you write or it's painting, writing, it's to catch the inspiration, that exact moment. And I can feel that everybody would agree with us. It is though fascinating, to hear, you telling us how you made this impressive, which, also we see those images behind you. What mountain did you paint on your back?
There. We can take the. Do you want me to make you a view?
Yes, try with the connection.
Here. Okay. Yeah. Let's see how the connection is working.
Fantastic.
Properly. The idea of putting these two figures together, like with a bubble thought that comes from the comic strips. And then, in a way, it has the same color as the. And way there is a relation of this bubble thought with the peak. So it's something that relates the figures to the ascension or the coronation. This painting is called coronation, and it's something that when I'm painting this, as Carolina, you asked, I want to be. If I zoom it, you can see that there are no really detailed. I mean, the details are not smooth. They're like big impastos and brush strokes. And I prefer not to describe perfectly and thoroughly things that I want. The paint, the look as it was painting. I don't want to smooth a lot things. And as we go back, I want it to be realistic. I mean, I like realism. I've always liked realism. But in a way, it's nice, Carolina, what you said about the quote that you said at the beginning, because I'm not used to what I see. I'm never used to what I see. I'm always, in perplexity, because the world is always, in a way, surprising us, but not in the way that, for example, you go to a really nice landscape and surprises us. But, it's the nonsensical of the world that I think that the world has no sense, and we make the sense ourselves in our head, in our mind. Yeah. And that's why I try to play with the elements of reality or realism and make another thing completely different.
Yes, and I think, Paco, what also Edward was mentioning is this to bring all our fears, you know, the change, the uncertainty, the unknown, but the future also, you know, the hope, but all being depicted in your paintings, which and again, you know, we can't see that there are no details, because for us, on my side, I can see beautifully done, and then of course you tell us when we go nearby, we don't see that there are no details, but it's this mirroring different realities that it's beautiful.
Yes, that's important for me. I mean, for example, here you can see like a race.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the figures are tied together. It's like a shot of a race. It's very photographic, but you approach, then you see all the brush strokes, and also the background is painted with palette knives, very wide palette knives, to make the sensation of, you know, of, let's say, speed.
Mm.
And yes,
they are tied together like this.
Again, they look
It's a
incredible.
very strange painting.
Detailed photographies, and they are painting beautiful, beautiful, Edward. And then yes, I would like to ask anybody, you know, of our audience, if you like to ask anything to Paco, to Edward, and while we're waiting, we could ask either both of you an anecdote, something funny that happened while you were doing your exhibition, to break a bit the ice of our audience.
It's quite an interesting experience to curate the show, and then when the work arrives, you never end up putting it where you think you're going to put it. So the layout and the complete position of all the works in the show is completely topsy-turvy from where we had everything. And so, you know, you lay out the work, and then there's nothing like, as you'll all appreciate, seeing artwork in the flesh just brings it to life. But it also speaks to the other artwork in the show in a very different way when you take it out of the crate, unpack it, and have it in front of you. So yeah, I mean, this exhibition was very carefully laid out, pictures taped to the walls, everything. But actually, when it all came, we had to completely reinvent it and move everything around and change everything. So yeah, there's a lot of good planning that goes to waste. And yeah, when you see the works together and you see how they interact and engage with another, it's often the case of you really do it all from scratch again. And so putting Paco's works here and adjacent to the Boscia and alongside the Sebastian Mass, this was all a complete change from how we had it laid out in our heads.
Bello. It's you know, I was picturing everything while you were putting you know, from getting the painting out of the boxes. You know, it's very, it must be fascinating what you do, Edward.
I'm never our art installations team favorite person, because everything gets moved 5 or 6 times. Okay.
There must be a wonderful moment of suspense in that section. But Paco, sorry, let's try again.
The starting point of my education. I mean, much before I started the art school, I used to draw when I was young, really a lot. I mean, because when my parents realized that I needed glasses to read, then I put my glasses on at 5 years old. I absolutely was astonished, because I realized that the life and everything was in a high resolution. Before that, I saw everything blurred. And my parents love to say, oh, he's very observant. He's looking with his eyes like this. And it's because I couldn't see anything, almost anything. So the glasses brought me from the blindness, semi-blindness. And I was absolutely amazed by, you know, the unfolding of the visual world. I mean, I was fascinated by the, you know, the dust and the little things I couldn't see before. Even using a ball pen or a pen or a pencil is absolutely different. And I didn't really realize that there was such difference in looking before I was 5 years old. So, I mean, when I was young, I mean, the doctors really didn't make a really full, you know, let's say analysis to the medical research for the children, and they didn't realize I needed glasses until 5 years old. So, I mean, for me, it was like a discovery, and since that, I love the act of looking. It's just wonderful for me. I mean, I love hiking and going to see landscapes and the mountains and you know, and sunsets and the reflections of things in the water. So I'm amazed by the act of looking. That I really like that. I mean, I could have stopped and being a realist painter, and I would be really happy. But there's something there that I need. I need to just to make a twist, and I'm not really. I don't agree with reality. I mean, I have to agree with reality because it's there. It's what we have. But since I've seen a lot of cinema since I was a boy, and I read a lot, there was something about fiction, about making things look different, that I was amazed by that. And I wanted to do that into painting. I mean, I absolutely loved to see when I was young. I mean, see a painting in a museum, and I'm be amazed by how they could do that. I mean, I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn the way things have to be painted in order to convince yourself, or to convince you, or to trick you. I mean, the trompe-l'oeil issue is something that I'm really fond of. But there was something missing there. I mean, I don't like reading like old photography. I don't like to read things and then know exactly what I'm looking at. I mean, I like to make a twist and try to play with that and be, let's say, irreverent in a way. I mean, I don't want to accept things as they are, even though sometimes they are very beautiful. But I want to change, and I want to play, and I want to make, you know, try to put. My father likes to say, I like to put the fingers on people's eyes. I don't know, but sometimes it's like this. It's not always like this, but sometimes it happens. I mean, many people say, I wouldn't put a painting of yours in my house because it's very, you know, it's very disturbing. And I say, well, don't buy it. I mean, you can always put a nice landscape. I love, you know, Dutch landscapes of the 17th century. I just love that, but it's not what I want to do. I want to do something different. I mean, using the classical skills or the classical way of working with oils, that I'm amazed by that since I was a child. I want to try, you know, to play with that and try to do a different version of the world. A world that we would like to have, or maybe a world that it could be possible but not desirable, or maybe something humorous or something is like a joke. I like the way sometimes jokes work. I mean, the mechanism of jokes is like the mechanism of metaphors or haikus, or I really appreciate that. And also people that are comedians, when they can bring something that make people laugh from out of nothing, from you pick that part of the reality and that part, one part of what we have in everyday life, and they make a really, you know, a joke that you can die laughing. This is the most, I mean, I love that. I mean, I respect that more than any other thing. So this mechanism of making something out of nothing, observation of reality, and try to turn the reality something more desirable, or laughable or lovable or more beautiful or humorous. That's the main aim that I have, and I respect the artists that do that very beautifully, like the Marx Brothers, for example. That is something that I'm mad about to Groucho Marx. I'm a Marxist, but from Groucho, let's say.
Paco, I love, we could say you are the true metaverse. The true metaverse was through your paintings already a couple of years before. But also, as you said, we need to laugh. That's extremely important, especially nowadays. And this humorous side to the historical part, it's fantastic, as you said. But I would like to ask, and again, thank you, because it's so true and so honest that it's really conquers everybody, I think, with your beautiful words. David, I can see you. You're dying to say something. In any case,
Carolina, it's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see you.
And thank you for being here tonight, David. Yeah. So David is, we've been texting each other. We haven't been able to talk during the summer, but David, you're the first. And then, of course.
Well, I'm a Marxist as well. I'm also a Marxist.
Okay.
I think we should start talking about that as new Marxism, especially today, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Paco, I wonder, one thing I was wondering, do your paintings have titles?
Yes. Yeah, I like them to have titles.
Good one, David.
Yes. As part of the information that you get as the viewer.
Yeah, sometimes, David, I like to put the titles just to more or less point out where the path of the meaning of the painting can be. And sometimes I just want to distract, or sometimes I just want to hit really in the target. And some paintings might be more open in the sense of the meaning, but some of them are absolutely, you can be focused and let's say this is something critical, or this is something that goes to the point and then is denouncing.
Yeah. So what is the title of the football pitch?
The football is Mirage.
Okay, good one, yeah.
So we are in the desert, and a mirage is something that is related to also the news, fake news, and also what is happening in Qatar, that I still don't believe that is happening in Qatar. The football.
The World Cup.
Yeah, the World Championship. And my older boy, who is 13, and he wants to see all the matches, and he's in the middle of the school. He's not in vacations, and and I'm going to have problems with this. He's so much obsessed with football, and
a lot of matches.
I mean, this painting is try to decontextualize something, and but it's not as decontextualized as you can see. I mean,
yeah. I think you should promote that idea of the undulating football pitch.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I've done 2 or 3 paintings in this sense a long time ago also. So, but I don't. It's just another version, a different one. I don't want to repeat. I don't like repeating myself so much. But I think some ideas, they need maybe 1, 2 versions. So if you want to get to the point of what you take, or what it needs to be taken out of the image. So
yes, but in real life,
they haven't unveiled the stadiums yet, David. So they may well look like that.
They haven't unveiled the stadiums yet.
No.
Oh no! Are they finished? Do you think?
No, I think they're still working on them. I think it'll be right to the last minute, which is typical of the Middle East, alas.
It is typical of World Cups.
It's typical from Spain too. I can tell you.
Yes,
I think it's
in Italy too. Sorry.
Major events worldwide. I worked on the London 2012 Olympics, and I can tell you we were working right up until the last night before opening. So yeah, it's I think it's quite typical for major events. but also just finishing on the issue of titles. This here is blues, and this here is superior. And again, that sort of, you know, hint and direction and steer is present there.
Yeah,
Just a little.
for example, in the painting blues, this title is just, it goes to the point. I mean, it has to be a painting about grief, about being sad. I mean, you can see Bert is very old there. He lost Ernie. I mean, he's not with his long, or his, you know, his life companion. So imagine the grief, you know, impersonated in that character is bigger, because we only saw these characters together and we laughed with them. We laughed at them and we laughed with them, and now we enjoyed with them. But now he's alone. He's with his stick. He has a really sad, you know, sad look. So it makes you feel sadder, even with this character, than a normal old person. That's why I wanted to, you know, to focus that, to try to describe that sense of loss in this image with this.
I love that it's blue. Also.
I actually loved it because of the color, first of all, and I didn't see that, Paco. I actually saw something else more very intense, very powerful. But now that you tell me, you see, you know, that's why I always love to hear what the artist does. But for me, was something more as related with the color to hope and to something more positive. Maybe it's this moment of my life that I want to see.
Well,
this.
as I said before, I like also the interpretation of the viewer is important for me. So even though there can be a big hint in the title, I always like to respect what the painting is for the viewer, and I don't want to give my own version. Normally, I don't.
I love to hear your version. And you know, it's actually now that you see, I can see it in a different way. But for me, was really on a different maybe. Okay. As I said, I want to hope for a better future. But coming back, I have Ellie Benson that would like to say something. Can you hear me? Yes. Hello.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes. Good evening.
Yes.
Good morning, wherever you are.
Yes, I have a question that there's a I would like to talk about that mountain.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time I saw this painting, and it hit me, just like give me a feeling of deja vu. And there's a phenomenon that the sunshine, when the sunshine shining on the mountain, and there will be a reflect on the top of the mountain. Have you ever thought using gold instead of pink in your painting?
I did. I actually have a painting that is called The Top, which has all and the cover. I mean, the peak is painted in gold paint.
Mm-hmm.
I can try to look maybe in internet, in the cell phone. I can find it and I'll show you here. Just or maybe you can type in Google Paco Pomet, and then you put The Top, and the painting must be there. So I can try to look for it now if you want, but it's something that maybe is a deja vu because maybe you saw it sometime.
Well, it is. It looks like, you know, one of the Alps, the beautiful subject of them, you know, of the mountains. But again, with the pink, I have to say, it looks this joyful moment of say summer, strawberry.
Okay. Yeah.
Hannah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we can see the peaks in a color like, let's say, not that pink, of course, but maybe yellowish or orange when the sun is setting, and then the last parts of the light are coming up.
Beautiful.
But
yes.
Absolutely, this is a daylight kind of mountain with absolutely no dusk around. So this is a very, very strange color, as you can see.
Paco, you should come here. We have the Righi in front of our terrace, but I can't show it to you because it's raining like crazy. But we have this mountain here, so we should paint it in pink next time. Okay. So then we have Anna. Anna, thank you so much for your question. And then Elivison and Anna, would you like to say?
Let me show you. This is the painting.
Anna was showing it to us before.
Okay.
Anna,
yes, thank you. This is fascinating. I'm going to ask you something else, but seeing the picture of the mountains made me think of the pyramids of Giza. Used to be topped by a triangle of gold. This is kind of similar. But what I wanted to ask you about, so you're a surrealist painter, and it's fascinating. I love the stuff that you're doing. It's really fun. Surrealism has so much humor in it. I really appreciate it. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think of the new AI generated art? Everybody seems to be using it, really into it, and I have to say I feel very uneasy about it. I'd like to hear what you think about it.
I mean, I think I like this question because I've been talking to a friend who is an illustrator and a professor in the University of Granada. He's also publishing. Publishing in the New Yorker. He did some of the covers in New York Times. Also, he's Sergio Garcia, and we've been talking about this because he was absolutely amazed by that. He sent me some news about some computer generated images that are taking the jobs from the illustrators. So you can type whatever you want to be, described, and then there is a program that they can throw images to you with these images, absolutely computer generated and AI. But some illustrators are really worried about this. I mean, I'm not that much worried, but this Sergio Garcia sent me another video in which there was a computer that was generating a Rembrandt painting that wasn't from Rembrandt. I mean, there was thousands of algorithms studying the faces and the lights and the distance of the eyes and the shadows and even the texture, because they were the paintings, they were printed in 3D machines and then covered by the image. So the image, the fake image, also had the texture. So that really blew my mind. And I saw, oh, well, that's the end of it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it will be the end of it for the time being. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know my children what things they will live. I mean, I don't know. It's just something that is, it surprises me so much. I mean, I'm perplexed with that. As Carolina pointed out, perplexity is something that has to be with us all the time.
Yeah.
And if I might chip in, actually, part of our ethos as a gallery is working with people who use different mediums, including the digital. And so we represent and work with some of the world's leading AI and generative artists. So we've exhibited Daniel Kanagar, Anne Spalter, and let's take Anne. She is using a multitude of AI systems and tools to create her art. For me, I'm very comfortable with that. I think it's very interesting combination of the human and the digital. When we start talking about DALL-E 2 or the other very topical systems that we use, GPT-3 or GPT-2 and language interpretation simply churns out art, then I feel like there's not enough intervention from the human to say this is sellable art. So for me, I think it's about how much craft and work has gone in alongside the software to create the finished work. Our artists write their own algorithms and code. Our artists use this blend of tools, and there's a huge amount of craft that goes into it. If I go into DALL-E 2 and type some words and produce a visual as a result, I think that's less representative of what I would expect from an artist, because they've sort of passed off too much of it to the software. That's our particular view.
If I can, may I say one more thing?
Yes.
I see art as kind of the test of society, of the evolution of the social system. Meaning, it's sort of like the frog. If a frog is born with 3 legs and 2 arms, you know that the environment is not healthy. And I think art has that kind of role for us. So to me, it's interesting what's happening with AI, because I wonder if it is kind of a symptom of where we are headed and how we are evolving as a human race. I don't know. It was just a thought.
Maybe.
I mean, it's something that Umberto Eco has a book that is called the people that adapt and the people who don't. And I don't know the words in English, but it's called the books makes a difference between the people that they don't accept the new things and the people that absolutely they accept them. I don't remember the title now, but we have to be more. We have to be open to what's happening. I mean, we don't have to. We shouldn't deny what's happening, and we have to try to understand it. I mean. If you get really, this is the end of the world, then and then the book is called The Apocalyptics and the Integrated people and apocalyptical ones. I mean, the apocalyptical reaction is, the end of the world is coming and this is horrible. And imagine what happened before with the invention of maybe with the car or planes and what people would think. And the other people is just, okay, let's accept this. This is the world. This is the evolution of things, and then let's try to understand it and accept it. I mean, what can we do? We have to deal with that. We have to deal with it. Even many films about science fiction try to talk about us or books of like 1984 or Blade Runner. But trying to unveil the future is impossible. Future came in a very different way, but it's always surprising. It's always strange at the beginning. So we have to be prepared, I think.
Paco, so what are your next exhibition that you're going to do?
I'm preparing a show in China, in Shanghai, in a museum, for February. And then this exhibition will go to a gallery in Beijing, with which I started to collaborate like 1.5 years ago. So there were some discussions between the museum and the gallery, because I was going to do the show first in the gallery. And when we decided that it was better to do it in the museum first and then go to the gallery, and then for selling purposes. And also the introduction of my work through a museum would be much better in China. Even though I was there in China 10 years ago for a Biennale, which had one painting there. It would be a bigger introduction of my work in that part of the world. So I'm really busy with that. I'm really behind schedule because of the moving of the new studio in the house, and it took me a lot of time. But I'm really, really like speeding with this. I don't like to work. I don't like working stressed, but I have to. You know, you put my batteries. You know, charge them a lot for that because it's a big place, and you know, there are maybe 1 or 2 works that some galleries are asking for a fair or maybe a group show, but for now I'm trying not to commit more, to put on my back more commitments than that, because it's a big challenge also.
Yes.
And the big challenge also is to get used to this new studio and make it work at full speed, you know, full speed. I mean, a full, you know, intensity. I don't like talking about speed. I like talking about intensity. So I'm really glad with this new space, and I hope to make the most of it.
Yes, and next time we'll test the internet, as we say in Italian. I'm joking. Paco, thank you for really a wonderful, and you know, touching, honest, and this is, you know, real life. What happens behind the scenes. And Edward,
thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I don't know if Ellie Vizen would like to say any other questions, because I can see your hand raised just before we leave.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I am Chinese. Just to be specific, can Paco leave a chat or leave your person your social media, your number, and I would like to go to your exhibition. Yes, I really want to take part in it.
Fantastic.
So well, through my Instagram, which is Paco Pomet, or like this, you can be. I will be posting any news or any updatings that you might need to know. The exhibition will be in Shanghai Power Law Museum around February, but I will keep everything posted in Instagram or even my website, which is pacopomet.com.
Yeah, thanks. And I one last question. Would you like to try to more 3-dimensional your products?
So sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, your maybe 3-dimensional.
Three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional,
yeah,
like sculpture?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I haven't tried for that for a long time. I mean, I'm not very much into that. I painted in some vases, in some jars, some works last year, like in a water pitch, kind of a Spanish water pitch jar. I don't know how to call it. It's something we use to drink fresh water. It's made of clay, and I painted. I did a couple of paintings surrounding this jar, but not really a sculpture. Sometimes I draw. I like drawing, and also I'm working in some lithographs. I've been working in Paris with some lithographs, with a lithograph atelier, and also here in Granada, I collaborate with a German printer, and we do some screen prints. We are going to release one soon also.
Fantastic. And Elevison, you can also go through Edward Gallagher website that is on the chat, and also through the Art Talks you can connect to everybody. So I hope that we could connect all of us, and then see also the different exhibition and that Edward will have very soon. Edward, the one that we can't talk is in October. Yes, not yet.
Yeah, obviously we've got an exciting ongoing program that explores, our modern world, moves through the digital to physical and back again, and we'd love to sort of keep you all connected and keep you all looking at what we're up to next.
Wonderful. So
looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to look at this new exhibition also.
Fantastic, fantastic. We can't wait. And, you know, if we wish you and we thank you for being us on our first adventure of the Art Talks. And
okay,
so
it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure for me.
Grazie, Paco. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Grazie. We're actually connected from different parts of the world. And again, thanks to the small world here with us tonight. And have a wonderful, wonderful evening, wherever you are in the art world.